That's Gus and Toto. They're both in their teenage months. They're both puppies, about 7 months old. Toto's a Australian cattle dog. Gus, of course, is a Labrador. The cattle dog is physically more like an adult than Gus. Gus has some growing to do. Gus, no! This is the third session of doing this. The first session was very difficult. It was a lot of pressure on my leg. I got a lot of pressure from Toto in the earlier part of this, with her bumping into my leg. The cattle dog will do that. That's just a fact. They shouldn't do it. It should be discouraged for sure. Don't let your cattle dog bully you like that. That's it. And this is a cattle dog. This is a very important period for both these dogs, and it's the teenage months. You know, I don't know, anywhere from 6 months to, fuck, that lab will act like a puppy forever. See how the lab's still like real gawky and everything? Toto, the Australian cattle dog, like physically, she's much more adult-like. She's much more, but that doesn't mean that we're gonna go play frisbee with her right now. She's still growing. Trust me, she's still growing. She's just not the clumsy oaf that the Labrador is. That is how all lab puppies are. It's ridiculous. But with both breeds of dogs and just about all breeds of dogs, they might stay in the teenage months longer, but you know, just because they're in it's just as important that you stay on track with this, and you should use control. Definitely for the first year, just keep control of the dog. You build the dog up. You don't just let the dog go off leash as a puppy and it just like that's how it's going to be. It's not going to work out. So you build the dog up using control and discipline. I'm using discipline here. I'm like, no, you walk the way I want to walk, and that's on the left-hand side. If you're working with some dog trainer that has one dog on the right and one dog on the left, you're working with the dog whisperer. They don't know what they're doing. They're incompetent. It's a fact. It doesn't matter if it's 5 dogs, they're all going to be on the left-hand side doing this. This is 2 7-month-old puppies. I could do it with 5, 6 adult dogs. The question is that, like, at that point, it's just more about, like, oh, look at me. Gus is giving me shit, okay? He's a Labrador. This is what they do. He's a male lab. You got 2 sort of dominant dogs, both very athletic dogs. Cocky. Both of them are cocky. One of them's a bigger doofus than the other. But they're both doing good. This is the third session. The first session was extremely difficult. But it's something that you just got to get out of the way. And it doesn't matter if it's 2 7-month-old dogs or 2 adults. It's done the same way. You must be compliant, dog. See what I'm doing with my leash? I'm slapping my leg and I'm saying heel. And as I go around the corner, right before I get to the corner, I say no, heel. The reason why I'm saying no is I'm being preemptive. I know how these young dogs are thinking. Well, they don't think, but respond. And there hasn't been enough muscle memory that has taken place, enough discipline, so they're still, you know, they're shaky on it. But this is the third session. As you can see, they're totally under control. I'd walk them in the city, no problem. Well, I would have to if I was training in the city, but I'm training here. But it doesn't matter where you're at. I was looking to see if this thing was recording. It doesn't matter where you're at. You have to train your dog to heel. And if you have 2 dogs, they should both heel. There's no excuses. Don't give me your fucking excuse. And if your dog doesn't know the potty command, it's not going to heel. That's an indication I'm making them sit. I'm using attrition because Gus is sort of being a dick. But they're both sort of being dicks because they're young male dogs. Or they're just young dogs. Toto's a female. She's dominant, though. But the point is that I was just using attrition there, and I do that periodically through this. You'll see me making the dog sit real quick. Like she's come on, Toto, get it together. And then I'll have him sit again. So I'll do that in succession. That's using attrition. I'm sort of bullying the dog. You know, just walk at a few feet. No, see what Gus is doing? Now watch what I do. I make sure he gets up and I give him a ration of shit. See me wagging my finger at him? You better knock that off. I'm making sure that he knows that I do not want him to do that. He's doing some kind of avoidance bullshit. It's not that he had an itch or anything. He's like, no, I don't. He's trying to see if he can get away with doing something else. We're doing this. This is the game. And if you don't stick with the game and you're clear with the rules, your dog's never going to pick it up. And it's never going to pick it up unless you do it repetitiously. Muscle memory won't take over. It's what it's about. It's so much of that. So you're like, if you notice, like I'm not letting the dogs jockey into positions. Gus is on the outside, Toto's on the inside. That's the decision that I made when I started doing this, and that's the decision that we're going to keep. So it's Gus's duty to watch Toto. Toto's doing a better heel, but Toto hasn't. Well, she's bumping into my leg, which sucks. But Gus is doing a pretty good job for the outside, but I am giving like more verbal encouragement to Gus. And more verbal, you better knock it off to Gus. Gus at times is like sniffing the ground. If you're trying to train your dog to heel and they're sniffing the ground, they're not healing, they're tracking. You don't want the dog to track, you want it to heel. More attrition. Notice I give him a little indication with the leash we're going forward. I'm reminding the dog the leash is on and I'm in control. You have to do this if you're not going to train your dog to. If you have two dogs and you're walking around with them just wherever, having them drag you down the street, looking like an idiot, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. And if you have two dogs and you think that they're healing, if one's on the right and one's on the left, you're an idiot. That's not the way these are two puppies. Come on, man. You can't get two adult dogs to properly heel. Why'd you get the damn dog? Why do people get dogs? They don't want to work with them. They want them to sit around their house. They don't want them to work. Both these breeds, all dogs need to work. And you can't just like let them loose in your house. These puppies, if they were looking out the windows, man, they'd end up being freaks. Don't let your puppy look out the windows. Use a crate. Keep the dog away from windows. Don't let problems start. The best thing that you can do is make the dog complaint doing something like this, because if you can make the dog complaint at heel, you're also keeping the dog calm on the street. Huge problem. Leash aggression. Teach your dog how to heel. You won't have the issue. It takes time, and if you're not getting anywhere, you need to contact a professional. It's just a fact. You know, some people are more physically in tune with training than others. It's just that's how it is. I know somebody that, well, I'm not going to go into it, but some people are just naturally better at this than others. But that doesn't mean that the person that isn't good at this cannot learn. You just have to try harder. That's what I'm saying. This comes sort of natural for some people. Generally speaking, it doesn't come natural for anyone. It's a very small percentage of people can just sort of like even figure out how to hold the leash. That takes days with the goddamn owner. I am not kidding you. If you don't know how to hold the leash, you're not going to get anywhere with your dog. You're going to look stupid to the dog. And people just, it's rare that somebody can pick that up in, 5 minutes or something. But see the way I'm making Toto, I said sit, and she's way out front, so I made her come back to a proper heel. She's doing real good as far as, looking at my leg, staying at my leg. Gus has it harder. He's a different dog. Never compare one dog with the other. They both can be trained. Gus is good at things that Toto isn't, and vice versa, and so is your dog. So never put that pressure on your second dog. One, you shouldn't be getting a second dog unless you have the first one trained. That's a huge mistake. And I'm sorry, but like, if this was one owner that owned both these puppies, like they got both these puppies at the same time, I just think the owner's an idiot. I'd train their damn dogs for the person, but don't get two puppies at once. Get one puppy, get the other one trained. If you can train one, then maybe you can do two. People bite off more than they can chew with the dog. You have a kid and you want to get a dog, like you don't have enough work? Okay. That's fine, but get the damn dog trained. Whether you pay for it or you get somebody else to do it. 4 million. 4 million dogs are dying every year because of, lack of training, no training, or improper training. I'm getting the camera. I'm going to move the camera out front so that you can see, how good they're doing. They're doing pretty good. It's just the third session doing this. I was just like, fucking, I'm going to work them together. Packing these dogs up wasn't easy, but it never is. These two are puppies, and they were real excited. Toto was whining a lot, doing all kinds of bad stuff. Now she's a lot more compliant with that. Once you get the dog sort of to a point, it does go a little bit easier. It goes a lot easier. If you can train the dog at the point when they're doing hold and sort of proper, I've always said this, you control the dog's mouth, you control the dog. It's the truth. Once you get them to that point where they're sort of functioning doing that, they're getting a lot smarter. So know that may be something difficult to train your dog to do, but the benefits, it's time. It's time and effort. You got to make an effort. The dogs don't train themselves. See how good they're doing. I have sticks that I put out there in the field. Can you see me walking around sticks? Now, when I walk up to the stick, I'm usually saying, no, heel. I'm reminded I'm right at that point. So right about here, I'll say, no, heel, and I'm taking my turn. I'm saying no because they're going forward. But because those two, the two sticks are up, as a visual cue to the dog, it just sort of helps them learn. So they just sort of get used to making that turn, so I don't have to say no. They're just doing it. They know. That's part of the game, is walking around the stick. You could use anything. You could use a chair. You could use traffic cones. You could use nothing. You could use nothing. You could use like a clump of dirt, a rock. Once they start walking the path, they get the path. See what I'm saying? So it isn't really about like having a giant object. It's sort of like, it's muscle memory. Walk the dog, you're walking on this path. And by the way, it was like one of these dogs and I was working heel, I might not be walking this distance. I think it'd be a whole lot shorter. It's two dogs. It's sort of like a different deal. The dogs are doing good though. They are. Sometimes when I start doing this, it might even be more random because there's so much chaoticness with the dog. So I might go in one direction and then turn around real quick. Like, no, over here. And just sort of keep them on their toes and give some corrections if the dog's, I'm not going to let the dog walk all over me. There's no way. So use the leash, definitely. Using the leash is more appropriate for something like this than the e-collar. The e-collar is not going to be helpful. It'll just make matters worse. It will. It'll just excite the dog. You don't need the e-collar for that. The e-collar is for conditioning, making the dog work faster, being more compliant. You can't really train the dog to do anything with the e-collar. Maybe you can do some things. Don't eat the chicken bones on the street like that, but don't think of it in the realm of punishment. Think of it in the realm of conditioning. I'm going to move the camera again. I think Gus gets a little sniffy here. Now, this is a situation I think Gus moves, and I do have the e-collar in my pocket, and it's one section of this 18 minutes where I did use an e-collar. It was at a distance. See, he's not sitting, so I used the e-collar. I said, no, sit. I used the e-collar. He sat. Now he's sniffing her again. He's a male dog. She's a female. She's probably going on heat soon too. No puppies. No weird looking puppies. Okay, so I had to use the e-collar again. See the way he's sitting backwards, but he's sitting. There's nothing I can do from this distance. At least he's sitting. I used the e-collar. The dog's learning that at a distance, I can turn the e-collar on. And he can turn the e-collar off by being compliant. Be compliant, Gus. That's all it is. You can't let the dog just roam around. There's keep in mind an element of control. You're foolish not to. You correct the damn dog. Don't, learn how to do it. Don't think you know how to do it. But you watch Cesar Millan, so you think you know what you're doing. You don't. You don't. I'm sorry. That show promotes bullshit is what it promotes. Don't get me started. Victoria Stilwell. See what the problem is like this is boring. Most people don't want to watch this. They don't. They don't want to watch it. They want to see somebody like Milan almost getting bit. That's the truth. Or they want to see Victoria Stilwell in her dominatrix outfit. Whatever she's wearing, her little outfit. It's the truth. It's all about that. It's all about it's like it's not about dog training. It's not about anything realistic. Cesar Millan's bullshit. Oh my God. He does it. He's not telling people to use commands. Dogs don't know sit down, whoa, here, heel, kennel. Come on. And everything's going to go great. What's he recommend? You walk the dog 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes in the evening. You're wasting your time. You could have trained your dog for 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening, and it would have made more sense. This whole thing took 18 minutes, and it was an extremely long session for both dogs. I usually never go above 15. With the cattle dog, I do tend to go longer. Definitely. But it's a different dog. It's a more adult acting dog. Fucking Gus is a doofus. Totally. He's Labradors. I've had so many Labradors. So typical of a Labrador. Look at him. He's a big dumb puppy. It's the truth. Marty the Maltese was pushing Gus around. Gus was totally lost. They're not. They're great. They're I love the Lab. I've owned so many. Both these dogs are typical of their breeds. Very much so. They're great. I love both these breeds. I'm moving the camera again. They can work next to each other. It took 3 sessions or something. So they're sort of packed up. If you get a dog and you're going to introduce it to a new dog, you would do something like this. You would start walking them together, keeping control. It isn't about putting the 2 damn dogs in the backyard and letting them mock fight. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. You see them mock fighting, you say no, sit. You don't encourage a fight. It's the same body language as a real fight. They're play fighting. They're getting ready to fight. That's how it is. You practice and then you fight. The dogs do the same thing. And once dogs get in a fight, they want to fight again. That's how it is. It's like a high. So the dog learns to like it. They learn to like it. You take them to the dog run, they're fighting, and you're lost, Stupid. Stay out of dog runs. This is healthy for both these dogs. They're learning to function around each other without mock fighting. You tell the dogs no. You tell them no. This isn't that fucking hard. It's not rocket scientists. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to be able to fucking figure this out. It's conditioning, muscle memory, discipline. You can't just it's a subspecies of the wolf.
Come on. No, heel. You got this. Good. Heel. Sit. It's good. It's 18 minutes. That's super long, so we're going to quit. Heel. 2 days ago, walking them like this would have been very, very difficult. We wouldn't have been able to keep either dog at heel. Things don't always go right at first, and dog training is difficult. And if you're not going to train your dog, you better find somebody that's going to train it. Things just go bad for dogs. We have 4 million dying because of lack of training, improper training, or no training at all. It's absurd. And just because heel. Just because it's not easy doesn't mean that it's not worthwhile. Train your dog, be thorough. Don't skip over anything because you think the dog doesn't like it. Or if the dog likes it, like in this case, the two puppies were out of control. That didn't mean that I wasn't going to get them to walk at heel together. They both need this. It's good for their behavior. It's good for training.